Hello boys and girls. I got an interesting email here on perception, social perception, self-protection and self-assertiveness skills. I'm going to refer to this lady, not by her real name, but as Ozzy for the duration of this video. Ozzy writes, "Hi Richie, non-standard appearance and approaching people. Many people regard themselves as having non-standard appearance and look to your training for skills that are practically developed and address that situation. I challenge you," challenge is written in bold with an underline, "to use stage makeup and coloration on your face, so it covers part of your nose and mouth, padding to make you look heavier, clothes that do not make your physique obvious." What's this mean? "And then repeat the approaching people exercise. Perhaps try various types of non-standard appearance. Please do a YouTube on the results." Not asking for much here, are you? "Do people react to you as they did previously despite your different appearance? In other words, do the skills you teach mean that appearance makes no difference?" No. What I teach is, whether it's psychology or martial arts, is that context is everything. And you are part of the context. So your appearance does have an impact, but it might not have as much of an impact as you indicate or seem to be believing. Now, you've gone around the houses here, Ozzy. You've not asked me the direct question which you really want to ask. So I have to make assumptions now. But I'm only making assumptions because you forced me to. You could have just said, "This is what my situation is. I don't think your techniques would apply to me," and then I could have answered it from that point of view. But instead, you've chosen to frame this as a challenge. So I'm going to counter-challenge you. Video yourself, or have somebody video you approaching people, so that I can see what you are doing and not doing, because that's important. It's not just a case of me saying, talk like this, say these words, do this in this sequence, and then you go out and do it. Your state transmits. Your state transmits. That's the most important thing that I want to teach you on this video and teach people on this video is whatever you're doing, your state transmits, okay? Now, you said, "I challenge you to use stage makeup and coloration on your face," and then you gave an example of a particular type of birthmark, which is, according to your Google search that you sent me as a link, called a port wine stain that covers my nose and mouth, and then you suggested I wear padding that makes me look heavier. Okay, this definitely isn't going to happen anytime soon, but I'm going to go back to the UK, probably around March, April time, and I do have friends who are makeup artists, and there is a chance maybe that I would do, there's a series of ideas I've got for short documentaries that I do for the Spartan Life Coach channel, and maybe I would do something like this, but I'm not going to half-arse it. I want it to be really, really good. So I'm not gonna do fucking makeup, no. But I would get somebody who's a professional to do it, and that is a possibility. And I would do it to prove a point here, which is that if I was, say, you said be heavier. Well, I'm 92 kg now. So if I got padding that made me look like I was 20 kilograms heavier, would that be enough? That's quite a lot heavier, right? So I'm now 112 kg. Plus I have latex makeup on that you can't have a 92 kg face with a 112 kg body. They're gonna know it's padding. So there needs to be latex on the face that makes you look heavier, yes? Then I get a port wine stain on my nose and mouth put there by a makeup artist. Okay, bear with me. Right, then you go on to ask the question that once I've done that, you want to know, how did the people you walk toward react? What cues were there in the person's behaviour that would lead you to know they were going to react positively to you? I don't know ahead of time that somebody's going to react positively to me. That's not how it works. I don't if I'm going to approach somebody to ask them the time, or if it's a girl that I like and I'm going to try and get her number, I can't look at her cues and go, she's going to react positively to me, so this will be okay. It's really unlikely that anybody who doesn't know me, as I'm walking towards them, is going to be like, "Oh yay!" with their body language. "Oh yes, I can't wait for this stranger to take up some of my time." There isn't going to be any positive cues. There's going to be something between indifference, bewilderment, and possibly annoyance if you're distracting them from doing something they already want to do, right? There is going to be no positive social cues. Do you use a different skill set for approach? And if you did, what skills did you use? My approach, would it be different in the circumstances you describe? No, because those differences are not big enough to make a difference. If I'm fatter 112 kg with that on my face, this port wine stain, that birthmark that you've asked me to look at, it wouldn't make any difference. In terms of like people's reaction to me, why would it? So in my mind, in my belief system, I'm like, these differences are minor. It's absolutely minor. If I want to know où est la bibliothèque, and I look like as I do now versus how I look like 20 kg heavier with a birthmark on my face, what difference does it make? I'm just looking for where the library is. Or, you know, why you've had the self-assertiveness course from me, and you fixated in the last couple of emails you sent me on the approaching people thing. Approaching people. Well, that course is not a course on approaching people. Approaching people is a whole skill set. But on the self-assertiveness course, and within that there's something called social magnetism that improves your charisma, I said that you need to become more extroverted, and a good way of doing that is to chat to people and just talk to people in the environment. So that could be somebody sit next to you on a bus. You have a choice to either just sit there saying nothing or to try and strike up a conversation. You're in the queue at Starbucks, you could say nothing or you can strike up a conversation. You know, it's that. It's just chatting to people. And this, what you've suggested, would make no difference whatsoever. So I'm going to reverse engineer your question and assume that maybe because you're in that position or a similar position, you've got it inside your head, this makes a difference. And here's the clue. You said, if you do a YouTube, please consider using language such as people with appearance that does not conform to social stereotypes, or the respectful equivalent in simpler language. Yeah, I have no problem in using respectful, politically correct language in this context, because I don't have a desire to not do that, so it doesn't bother me. Yeah, fine, I'll do that. But you said, an appearance that does not conform to social stereotypes. I assume, and I reverse engineer from your question, and I counter challenge you, that you have a belief in your head that there is something called a social stereotype for how people should look. I wonder what it looks like. Is the social stereotype for how people should look, is that all men should look like Brad Pitt and all women should look like Angelina Jolie? Is that what you're believing? Because here's how I challenge you. Go to a shopping mall and you tell me how many people are looking like Bradgelina. Nobody. That's why they're celebrities, because they're beautiful. If they weren't beautiful, they wouldn't. It's okay, they can act, they absolutely can act, but if it wasn't for how they looked, then they wouldn't be in the position they are. But they work for the Hollywood celebrity industry. I don't, you don't, it's not relevant. If you go out there and look in the world, there's people of all kinds of shapes and sizes, all kinds of different looks and appearances and everything else. So really, I think you're stuck inside your head thinking that you don't look, you have an appearance that doesn't conform to social stereotypes. I don't know what that is. I swear to you, I do not know what that... You tell me what a social stereotype... You're from Australia. Send me a picture of the social stereotype of somebody in Australia. What is it? Who is it? You know, it's a multi... There's a huge number... There's a huge variety of people living there. So I think this is you stuck inside your own head, and I think you're calcified in confrontation. And what I mean is, what I'm now going to further assume is, if you feel that growing up that your appearance was the source of conflict or being bullied in your environment as a child, then what happens is you develop a belief system that says the way I look causes people to want to hurt me, to want to humiliate me, to want to outcast me. And if that's true, and I'm not saying it is because I don't know because you didn't tell me, then obviously I empathize. That's a horrible thing to have to go through, and a very painful thing to have to go through. But what needs to happen now is, instead of you fixating on appearance, is you need to get some therapy and some coaching to go inside and heal the rift in your self-image. Your self-image is damaged. I swear to you, and if it's, I'm not going to do it just because you've asked me to, because that's ridiculous. I would end up becoming, like a little performing dog. You know, anybody who asks me a question out of my conscientiousness, I have to go out and create, do a 2-day, 3-day, 4-day long project just because they ask me. I might choose to, because I think it's interesting. We have discussed this before here, and it's very relevant to self-protection. How you act is going to, and how you look is going to impact how people respond to you. But this thing that you've talked about, the port wine stain and the 20 kg heavier, not only do I think that people around me, if I just want to be friendly and make friends with people, I don't think it would have an impact. In fact, it might be easier. Here's the thing. You said cover your physique. So you obviously, you've backhandedly complimented me. You've implied that because I have an attractive appearance that it's easier for me to go out and talk to people. It's not how it works. As a man, even as a woman, the more attractive you are, the more negative social feedback you will get. Women who are very good looking, who walk down a street, will get bitchy glances from other women. I know, I've seen it, because I've walked down the street with a good looking woman and checked out how other women are responding. It's not nice, it's not friendly. If you're a good looking guy, you don't get that from other guys, not really. But if you ask guys who do training, who put on a bit of size, then other men will be looking at you, and they won't be looking at you in a friendly way because you're triggering them and you're making them feel threatened. So there's something you need to realize. Actually, I've been different shapes and sizes. I mean, you could go through my YouTube videos. I have been like 10 kilograms heavier than I am now. And it gives my face a very different appearance. I look very different because I carry, like, there's a lot of water in my face. Big jowly face with double chin and that. And people generally are friendlier to me because I look less threatening. And I always like wondered, why is it people are generally friendlier to me when I'm chubby? Then you've got to ask the question, what stereotype are you falling into? Most people are living in a video, they're living in a film, and they don't have time to get to know who everybody is in the social environment. So they see you and they categorize you, and it happens straight away. And I was like, well, maybe when I'm chubby, maybe I look jollier. You know the word jolly? Maybe I'm just like some chubby, jolly guy. Because I am, generally speaking, whether I'm like in shape or not, I'm generally a happy, outgoing person. That's the key. Your state transmits. So my counter challenge to you is, let me see you talking to people. Because if you're walking up to them calcified in confrontation, thinking with this belief system, people are mean to me because of my appearance, your energy is going to be not friendly, is going to be not loving. Now, when I walk up to people, especially in Asia, where I'm not tall. In the UK, I'm standard, I'm 5'9", so I'm a very, very like average height in the UK. But here in Asia, I'm taller. Here in Asia, I'm bigger. And so when I'm talking to people, they can get threatened. So I have to really go into a place of, my state has to be super friendly and super gentle. You'll notice in everything is context, social context. In Asia, people don't shout at each other, usually. And if they do, it's an indication of being like low class. If you're yelling and swearing and spitting on the floor, that's low class. Where I'm from, it's totally normal for people to just yell at each other. Just start friendly, just shouting and laughing loud and big gestures. That's normal. But here, you would look like a nutcase. You would be judged non-favourably here. So I've actually done the experiment. This is one of the last things I want to talk about. I've actually done this experiment, not as an experiment, where I walked through Liverpool to a particular place where I needed to get a visa stamp. The Thai embassy is like next to a jewellery store. People who are from Liverpool know where it is. It's next to Liverpool 1. So on 2 days, I went and walked the exact same route and went to the exact same office. Okay. Day number 1, I had, for various reasons, I had hair, and this makes a difference where I'm from, and I'll explain why in a second. And I was basically dressed, like I was 30 at the time, and I was basically dressed maybe a little bit what we would consider, from where I'm from, like studenty, sort of like casual gear, very non-threatening, and like, you know, just a regular guy. Because in Liverpool, you have a load of students and they're from out of town, and for some weird reason it's in the Liverpool DNA to be mean to each other. If you're from Liverpool or from Birkenhead, we're all horrible to each other, but if you're an outsider, everybody's dead friendly to you. I don't know why that is. So I walked through that town and I probably didn't look like I was from there. No problems. Everybody friendly. I get to the Thai embassy and they have a security door. They see me, they pop it open. No questions, nothing. It's immediately popped open, I walk in. For various reasons that I won't go into now, the very next day, had to go to the gym, had to do this, had to do that, decided to shave my head. Shaved my head to a grade 0. And I had finished at the gym and I went straight to get my stamp from the embassy and walked exactly the same route. And I had on a black tracksuit with a black hoodie. So from head to toe I'm dressed in black, and I now have a tracksuit on and a black hoodie. Now, we call people who dress, like if you're age 30 and you're dressed like that with a shaved head, you're a scally, where I'm from. In Australia you call them bogans, in New Zealand they call them Westies, in America, I don't know, a thug maybe. Somebody who is probably of a criminal demeanour, right? Different experience. I couldn't walk out of the car park before I got negative social feedback, which was a woman and her husband were walking along, and behind my back, but within earshot, she went, "Fucking hell, there's loads of scallies here today." And I was like, my goodness, that's very rude, I can hear you. I carried on walking, men are glaring at me, and women are dodging me. They're swerving around me, exactly the same route. I get to the Thai embassy and they won't open the security door. Now I'm the same guy I was 24 hours ago that when they saw me, they buzzed it through and let me in. They wouldn't open the security door. So I knocked on the door and I waved at the woman, and she looked at me and she started pretending to like write papers. She was like, "I'm not letting that fucking scally in here." And I was like, what's the problem? So I buzzed the thing, I was like, "Hello, I was here yesterday, I'm here to pick up my stamp." As soon as she heard my voice, and she was like, "Oh, right, okay," and she let me in. I'm not saying appearance doesn't matter. That little anecdote proves that it does. What I'm saying is that your state is more important, and how you present yourself and how you talk is more important. At first glance here in Asia, the last girl I was seeing said, "You know what, you're a really nice guy, but when I first met you, you seemed violent, untrustworthy and stern." And I was like, shit, that's, if you think that, then a lot. But when I walk around, I'm not walking around going, "Hi, hey, how are you? Hey there, hey buddy," smiling, because that's not my, like I'm an outgoing, friendly guy, but I'm not walking around smiling at everybody. So I'll walk around and I'll just relax. And my relaxed face here translates as, "Oh, he's stern, he's unfriendly, he's aggressive." Again, it's all to do with all of the appearance coming together at the same time. So you want the binary answer. Does your appearance matter or does it not? It has an impact, but it's not the be all and end all. This experiment that you've asked me to do is not tough enough, I claim. A port wine stain on the face and 20 kilograms heavier is not going to make any difference to me whatsoever. But I may have to alter my energy level, and I may have to do some work ahead of time to realise that people are going to look. Now, if every time somebody looks at that, I start judging them, getting angry with them, or whatever, then that's not gonna help me. That's gonna put me into a state of confrontation, and it's gonna calcify me in confrontation. So I am suggesting that whatever it is that you're dealing with as an appearance that does not conform to social stereotypes, you need to get over it before other people do. They're not going to get over it unless you're over it. You need to be super cool with it. And you should address it if need be. Did you ever see that film? It's Steve Martin. And he plays like a character from French literature. God damn it, it's gone out of my mind. He has a very long nose. But the point of the story is he's extremely witty, and he mocks his own appearance before other people do, and then it becomes a thing. Like that's his foil, that's his shtick. He has this whole litany of jokes about his nose that gets people laughing so that he's not put into the victim state. I've seen Steve Carell, the comedian Steve Carell, he's got similar material on about his physical appearance. Most stand-up comics do, you'll notice. And the idea there is to say, look, I don't care about that. And I know that you're thinking this, this and this, and it doesn't matter, I'm cool with it. If you're comfortable, they'll be comfortable, because your state transmits. That's the most important thing. Immediately when I was reading your stuff, I was like, you've not told me that I can't do other things. So when I say people are living in a film, you're part of that film. You're a pixel in their reality tunnel. They don't have the time. You don't have the time walking down the street to look at somebody and go, hey, I wonder if they love French literature. I wonder if they, have certain belief systems. I wonder if they're interested in Zen meditation. You don't think that because there isn't time to do that. None of us can. So it's our responsibility to let the other person know who we are, not their responsibility to try and work it out. Somebody who's running that belief system of they should work out who I am is going to end up very, very lonely. Again, because you're calcified in confrontation regarding your physical appearance. So my immediate thought was, what character would I play if I had the port wine stained birthmark and was very overweight? I was like, well, first thing is, if I dressed like I was really wealthy, so you say put on a costume and change your makeup and all right, okay, I want to extend that costume. I want to dress like I'm super rich. Like I've got a nice suit on, fitted suit. Obviously this would be expensive to do in real life and I'm not paying for a fitted suit just for this. Nice shoes, the hairstyle matches the character. Maybe there are little items I could have on me that match that character that would make all the difference in the world. Like, the designer sunglasses, like somebody who bothers to, the watch I'm wearing, the cuffs, just all these little details that communicate something about me. What would happen then? Can you, if you create me in your mind dressed like that, but with the additions that you've given me, what's the effect now in your mind? Okay, swipe that. Change it so now I'm a biker. So everything, I've got the tats up here, the long hair, but I'm also 120 kgs with the port wine stain, and I've got, the biker thing, colours badge on my back and all the boots and everything. Now give me a chopper to ride in that picture inside your head. Now what's the impact? Oh, it's different again, but you're not fixated so much on my weight and everything else. It's all the other symbols that go with telling you about who I am. So I would say, you've said I don't want to alter, you didn't say you don't want to alter your physical appearance. You want to know if there are different skills. You've got to take a long, hard look at how you act. First and foremost, what is your consistent emotional state when you're out and about? What would you think of you? When you're looking at other people and you're making judgments and assessments about other people, it's impossible to not judge other people on appearance. You've judged me based on my appearance. You've made certain assumptions. You've said, oh, okay, well, what is implied here, and I'm assuming this though you've not said it, is it's easy for you, Richie, to talk about self-assertiveness and approaching people because you don't have an appearance that does not conform to social stereotypes. What are you talking about? I live in Asia. This is not a very white place. My appearance couldn't conform less to social stereotypes. Children stop in the street and stare at me. I live in a condo. My last condo was full of Japanese people. This condo is full of Chinese people. What do you think Japanese and Chinese children do when they see me? I am just a huge pale-faced man. So they're like, oh, they'll stare. Now the parents get embarrassed and are like, no, don't stare. And I'm just like, just let them stare. They're kids. I'm weird. Like my weirdly white face. They're like a little child the other day. It's so cute. This little boy, I don't know, like 2, still with a dummy in his mouth, barely walk, tried to get in the lift with his dad, and his dad was behind him, and the little boy went like that, saw me in the lift and literally went, and his body stiffened up. I'm not hurt by that. I don't have, in your context, I don't have an appearance that conforms social stereotypes here at all. There are, in most of Kuala Lumpur, there's Chinese, Malay and Indian. And in certain areas, there's white people, but I'm not in those areas. I live in a very, very Chinese area. So I don't have, but I can make friends with people if I choose to, if I'm in the mood to. Because I can go, hey, how are you? And my tone of voice is soft, and I'm smiling, and I'm in a state of friendliness, and I can convey non-threateningness. And because for white people to be living where I'm living, though, it would be associated primarily with criminality. I look like a criminal. You're looking at me as an Australian and going, oh, you just look like a nice normal lad. Well, not here. Not here. This look is associated with criminality here. People are frightened of it. So yeah, you stick me in Perth, where I'll be going soon, and yeah, nobody's going to look at me twice. They'll just assume I'm Australian. like they do here. They're always like, where are you from, bro? Are you from Australia? No, I'm English. That's a set of assumptions and prejudices. So I don't have an appearance that conforms to social stereotypes, and I'm fine. I run a psychology group here, and I have an appearance that doesn't conform to social stereotypes, and the psychology group, when I run it, is always packed, because people love it. Now, if I was fixated on, oh, I'm white, they're judging me, they need to think that I'm not a criminal because I know that they think I am, or they think they're going to assume I'm drunk and promiscuous, because that is the standard prejudice that the people of Malaysia have against white people. You know, I have people talking about me behind my back, saying, don't talk to him, don't make friends with him, don't hang around with him, he's a bad guy, he's drunk and promiscuous. That's the standard thing here that people will say about white people. So, how do people react to me? Badly, sometimes. Like I say, I was the gym I joined, I couldn't make friends for the first 6 months because this rumour went around about me that was based on nothing other than the fact I was white. It was pure racism. But guess what? Everybody in that gym loves me now. Everybody. Because I didn't calcify in confrontation. I didn't get stuck in, oh, fuck you. You know, this is racism. Racist. I was just like, you're just people. You don't know me. You don't know me. But then I gave them the chance to, and everybody's fine. Because I'm fine. Everybody's cool because I'm cool. So that's my point. Do you need a different skill set for approach if your appearance is different? No, but you need to take responsibility for it, and you need to own it, and you need to own your own space. Now, it's going to be different for you as a woman than it is for me as a man, but that's not an excuse. Own your space, own your emotional state. If you really want people to react positively to you, you go first. You be positive, you give. There is a thing that we can all fall into where we wait to see what the other person does, but your state transmits. So if you want to get a friendly response from people, you should go first. And even if it is rebuffed 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you keep going. Like Gandhi, you just keep going, and like eventually they'll give in and they'll be nice to you. Usually, in most contexts. In a self-protection context, it's slightly different again. You have to take responsibility for how you look, but don't assume that if you, from a self-protection point of view, not really answering this question now, but just talking about self-protection, like if you go, oh, according to social stereotypes of looking tough, if I look tougher, I'd get in less fights. Not true. If I look less tough, people are going to bully me more. Not necessarily true. I've made this point in another video on this channel, I'm sure. There's a guy who I know, I've known him for a long time. He was the guy who got me into door work. He was the guy who introduced me to doing nightclub security, what some people call being a bouncer. And he looks like a nightmare. 6'5", probably 130 kg guy, muscle. He quite happily will do bent over rows on my deadlift max. So he's a big fucking strong boy. Deadlifts 250 kg for reps. You know, he's a fucking beast. He loves to box, likes martial arts, is interested, but more than that, he loves to fight. He just likes violence. He likes the chaos. He thrives on it. I can walk down the street with him in Liverpool, and a street that I wouldn't even be looked at twice on, it felt like every 100 meters, somebody's looking at him, like in a challenging way. And I'd be looking at them and looking at him and going, really? Of everybody here that you want to start a fight with, you pick this guy who's built like a rock troll. He's just huge, dead nice lad. For all that, he's private school educated, well read, intelligent. Just likes brawling, but people start on him. So we can walk down the road and be living in 2 completely separate social realities. His reality is confrontation and violence. My reality is indifference. And I think it's because I've learned, I used to get into fights all the time as well, and it was never my fault. People would always start on me, but at such a weirdly high rate that it was like, dude, you must be projecting something. Your inner life, your beliefs, how you project yourself out to the world is going to be bounced back to you. When I walk through Liverpool, I'm like, I come in peace. You can't, my attitude on a night out is, you can't start a fight with me. I am a man of the Tao, and into a man of the Tao, not even a tiger's claws can be sunk. That's how that goes through, because I'm happy. I'm here to have a good time, and fighting is not my idea of a good time, so you can't start a fight with me. It's impossible for you to draw me into that social reality. So Aussie lady, I would say challenge your own beliefs first. Your idea for an experiment is great. Lee Morrison was involved in I think it was a BBC documentary, I'll put a link in the more information bar, that was all about how criminals choose potential victims purely based on their gait, how they walk, and they couldn't even see the people. All they did the, you know, where you put the motion capture, you put the light bulbs over the body, so all they're looking at is light bulbs walking, and they could say that guy's confident, that guy's not confident, he's more likely to be targeted for a crime because he's less likely to fight back. If, you know, the studies show that if people are walking in a way that expresses depression, sadness, despair, criminals are going to target them because it'll be an easier pickings. If somebody's conveying external focus, extroversion and happiness, well then they're not going to pick them because they've got more to fight for, and they're more likely to make a fuss and make a scene because criminals are cowards. So Aussie lady, I don't know what your experience has been to date subjectively. It sounds like it's not been very pleasant, and it sounds like it's been as a result of your appearance. I would say don't, as a counter experiment, you've asked me to do this experiment, and I think what you're trying to say is, hey, it's easy for you because of how you look. Well, it's not. I do have to change. I do have to make an effort sometimes to get past people's prejudices, especially where I live right now. So it's not easy. You've made an incorrect assumption there. And I'm making an assumption about you, which is that you've had it bad, and you think you've had it bad because of your appearance. Now that might have been true in school, but it shouldn't be in your adult life. So alter, what I suggest for you as an experiment, sorry, to finish that point, don't change your appearance. You can do, you can play with clothing, styles. You know, I gave you two very extreme, wacky stereotypes, both of which would be fun to play. Like if I had the budget to do that, I would do it. I could make both of those characters. I could make the very wealthy businessman who's 120 kg and has the birthmark on his face, and the biker who's the same thing, lovable, fun, friendly, and get people to laugh, I claim, ahead of time. Like if my intent was, I'm going to approach people I don't know and I'm going to get them to laugh, I bet you I could 90% of the time. I'm not saying easily, I'm saying yeah, it would take some effort, because they're going to look and go, whoa, a biker, whoa, a really big guy with a birthmark on his face who's also coming at me with this extroverted energy, whoa. You know, the energy that you're coming at people with is going to have an impact. You shouldn't assume they're going to be positive ahead of time because you're a stranger, but you can assume they'll be positive after you've given them a chance to at least experience your personality for 2 or 3 minutes. But you must give more. So don't alter your appearance in the way that I suggested. Not at this point. The first thing I want you to experiment with is giving people different energy, and everybody watching this can try this because it's a great example of applied psychology, to get out there and give people different energy. Give. Richard Bandler always said about hypnosis, he said it's easy. If you want somebody to go into an altered state of hypnosis, of trance, you go first. You go first. If you want somebody to feel happy, you go first. I convey, people feel good watching my videos because I'm in a good state, because my state transmits. So if you feel hopeful, upbeat, a little bit more optimistic, like there's more options there, that's because that's the emotional and psychological state that I'm in to convey things to you, to give you more options. So play with giving more, give more value. This is a principle of business. If you want to run a business and have it run well, and you want to run it ethically, just give people more. Give people more useful things. That's what they say in business. Give people more of a good customer experience. Well, similarly, when you're talking to people who don't know you, they don't owe you a damn thing. They don't have to be nice to you. They might be rejecting. If you feel rejected, Aussie girl, it might be because you're a stranger and you're ascribing it to your appearance, and it's not. It might just be because they're a little bit rude. You know, I don't know where you live. If you live in a city, people are going to be less nice to you than they are in the country, because there's too many people in cities. We're not designed to live on top of each other in such huge populations. We're designed to live amongst populations of about 50, and that's it. So you know everybody, so nobody's a stranger. So there's a natural xenophobia inside of the human psychology. It's like a software fault where we naturally fear and are not so friendly towards people we don't know. Because over evolution, if somebody came along who was a foreigner to your tribe, they could bring disease, murder, pillage. They could be the forward recce movement of an invading army. You know, they could spell total annihilation for you and your entire bloodline. So yes, we are xenophobes, and xenophobia is the root of racism. That it's a prejudice, a prejudgment, but it's natural. It's a cognitive bias. It's a software fault in the brain. We can moralize and whinge about it, or we can come to terms with it and find ways of working our way around it. Okay, that's probably enough on that subject. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. In a self-protection context, do be aware of how you look, do be aware of how you're transmitting, and play with it. You can play with your energy, you can play with your state, you can play with what you're giving people. Don't be calcified in confrontation, don't be calcified in victimization. Get out there, realize people are living in their own little reality tunnel. They live in their bubble, and there isn't as much going on inside of their heads as you think there is. People aren't looking at you. People aren't studying you, and you're studying you. People are doing what you're doing, because guess what? You're a person. You're internally focused, you're in your own thoughts, you're wondering how people are thinking about you. So you walk into a bar or a club, everybody's wondering what people are thinking about them. There's a little insight into human psychology. The fundamental nature of the human being is insecurity. Because we're scared, because we live on a planet that's zooming through the universe at 66,000 miles an hour. The planet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and we move through the solar system at 10,000 miles an hour. The chances of us being alive are very, very small, and yet we are. The chances of us staying alive in the massively hostile environment that is the universe is incredibly small, and yet we are. But the natural state of the human being is one of insecurity, and with a faint tinge of hysteria. Be compassionate to that. Come from compassion, come from love, not in a weird sort of hippie-ish way that says, oh, unconditional positive regard, you can do whatever you want to me, but try and come from a more compassionate, loving space and realize that people around you are scared like you. So go in there and assuage that fear and, wave the white flag, come in peace, and persevere. Give people a chance. All right, that's definitely it. Thank you very much, and I will speak to you again soon. Oh, if you've got any questions or comments, obviously just pop them in the comment section below, and I will try and answer them in time. Cheerio.